Working under Dabo as his coaching tree grows, how does that prep you, or how has that prepared you for what's going to come next for the guys like you?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I take a, I feel very blessed that I have been here for every step of the way. I mean, I was here the day that he was named interim coach, and been able to watch really how he has built this program into a championship caliber program. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't some magic formula. It was really just being very consistent and having a vision, developing a culture, all those things. And you learn a lot from the people that you're around. Sometimes you learn things how you would want to do things differently, and sometimes you learn the right way to do things. And learning from Coach Sweeney, I think, is just going to prepare all of the coaches, and not just the coordinators, but all of us, for future opportunities. And I feel very blessed. It reminds me a lot of my dad's career, being at Florida State for 11 years under Bobby Bowden, and just the valuable lessons that he was able to learn, and I was able to learn at a young age. So I feel very blessed being here around Coach Sweeney every day.
I know that you want to be a head coach. When will you know that the time is right? What opportunity would be right for Jeff Scott?
Well, first of all, I'm a man of faith, and so I've been able to look at my entire life, not just my career, and been able to see how the Lord has a plan, and he'll speak and let me know in the right time. But the best part is I'm at a great place around great people and learning, and I enjoy coming to work every day. It's an unbelievable culture that we have here at Clemson, and when you're coaching it at your alma mater, and especially at a place like Clemson for a man like Coach Sweeney, you're not in a hurry to leave, and that's really where I am as a coach. Is every day I'm just trying to continue to learn, from all the coaches around me, from Coach Sweeney, from our players, and taking all this in. And hey, if it's in the Lord's plan for me to be a head coach one day, then that's going to happen on its own. One of the best advice that I've been given was actually from Coach Sweeney, and that's just be great where your feet are, bloom where you're planted. And you see a lot of people in the coaching profession that are always kind of have their eyes outside looking for that next opportunity, trying to make things happen. And I've learned from Coach. He was just here coaching as hard as he could to be the best wide receivers coach that he could, and then one day he got the opportunity to be the head coach. And so when that day comes, I'll know when that is. But I really enjoy what I'm doing right now, and to be honest, I feel like we're just getting started. We always talk about the best is yet to come, and there's a lot of us that are still young, and so I'm looking forward to several more good years here at Clemson. And I truly feel like, because of the recruiting, that we're only going to get better each year. So that's an exciting thought and feeling.
And can it be stressed enough that you guys are where you are because this group of coordinators and head coach been together since that 2014 Russell Athletic Bowl, that continuity?
There's no doubt. Whenever you see the coaching carousel and you see how many of these jobs have turned over every few years, and you look at the continuity that we've been able to have under Coach Sweeney is really incredible. And I think, number one, it speaks to the type of environment that Coach Sweeney has for his coaches. He has an environment where people want to stay, and I know there's been plenty of coaches over the last few years that have had opportunities to leave, and they're not leaving. They're staying here for a reason, and a big reason of that is Coach Sweeney and the environment he has here, and then also the support that's here from an administration standpoint has really put us in a position to have the continuity for a long time, and that really, I believe, is what it takes to be able to be great for a long period of time, and to have that consistency on the field. You really need that off the field, and that's one thing that we're most proud of that we have here at Clemson.
Is that continuity and recruiting kind of underscored by the fact that you all had 6 AP All-Americans, one more than last year, a school record, twice as many as Alabama, just being able to repeat and sustain that success?
Yeah, and part of it for us is, we really never even think about that till that happens, and we congratulate the guys that day in the team meeting, and everybody moves on. But really, our culture is really not about the 5 stars. When you can have a guy like Hunter Renfro come from walk-on to being one of your most valuable players on your team, I think it really speaks of a culture where everybody's, on equal footing whenever they get here. And you can kind of leave the stars at the door, and it's time to go to work, and you're going to get what you earn. And that's really the mentality and the culture that's been built here. But obviously, we're very proud of our guys, and it's awesome to see guys. I can remember being involved recruiting Dorian O'Daniel and where he was coming out of high school, really just a good athlete that had a lot to learn about football, and now to be able to see him, be an All-American in his position is very gratifying as a coach.
What are some specifics you're hoping to get done here over these next few weeks when you have this break on offense?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is focusing on ourselves and on our execution, and that's really what our message has been all year, and it's going to be even more I think important when you're playing an opponent like Alabama that's athletically is going to be able to match you. So now it comes down to the nuances, the fundamentals, the team that plays with the best technique and does the little things better than everyone else. And so that's really what we're focusing on in practice. And this the bowl prep is really, obviously we got to get ready for Alabama schematically, some of the things that we want to do, but really the focus is on ourselves and being able to be as efficient as we can and play a very clean game, and really what it will take for us to have a chance to beat Bama.
Is it more of a chess match between both teams this year, just because the last two meetings you only had a week to prepare versus 3 or 4 weeks this year?
Yeah, it's definitely different. You have more time to prepare, and you've played each other the last 2 years, but obviously it's the same for both groups. For us, really, there's only so much you can do to prepare for your opponent. So really, this first week of bowl practice is really kind of focused on Clemson, very similar to what you may do in spring ball, kind of getting back to the basics and cleaning up a few things that maybe you didn't do as strong as you wanted to do towards the second half of the season. And then, as we kind of flip the page this weekend and really start getting into our game plan versus Bama, we'll be more kind of focused on that. And that's been our formula, and our guys believe in our formula. We've had a lot of success in our bowl games over the last 5 or 6 years, and so we're staying consistent with that formula.
Coach Sweeney was talking about just how this team's playing its best ball right now. Offensively, there was a stretch where you probably didn't feel like you were playing your best, but it's gotten better as the years going on, especially the last 3 or 4 games. What's been the difference? How have you been able to keep these guys from getting frustrated when things weren't going well?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just getting the guys to come out and play at a high level and play and practice consistently. I think when it gets late in the year and you start getting to game 10, 11, 12, now you're playing the ACC championship, there's a tendency to maybe start backing off a little bit as a player, because you're maybe getting a little bit tired and need a little bit of a break. But the teams that are able to continue to win late in the year are the ones that have that mindset and can really prepare to play their very best game as if it's a one-game season. And I think that's what our guys have probably done the best job of, is really not getting distracted and really, working on that. And Coach Sweeney's talked to our team about that. The teams that win these championships and continue to move on are the ones that are playing their best ball at the end of the year. We talk a lot about our Clemson DNA or the Clemson offense DNA. And one thing that we've been known for is we play our best ball in November, December, and January. And so that's our expectation for this group, and so far they've been able to do that.
Jeff, as coaches and schemers, how much pride do y'all take after losing what y'all lost last year with a new cast of characters largely, that y'all been able to stay at that bar?
Yeah, I think as a coach, that's a challenge. We're not just on autopilot or just feel like, hey, we've had success just doing what we're doing. There's nuances and things that you want to continue to find ways to allow your guys to have success. And part of it is figuring out what your guys do best. It's kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the year. We got to kind of find out who is, what does this team look like? What is this offense? What's our strengths and weaknesses? And then as coaches, we got to be able to figure out, how can we take that knowledge and, put a plan together for these guys to go execute, at a high level. But a plan is only as good as the players and the execution. And it doesn't matter how good of a plan you put together if the guys don't take ownership in it and really buy in and really learn the plan and make it their own. And I feel like that's what we have a great balance of. I feel like, we got a great coaching staff, and it's not just our 5 full-time guys. We have a lot of guys in that room they're able to give insight, and everybody has their job and their role. Everybody takes pride in that. And then whenever we presented it to the players, and these guys have done a great job of buying into it, they believe in the plan, which is critical, and they've been able to go out and execute it. So it makes it a lot of fun to come to work every week when you got a group that does that.
Speaking of a plan, do you think Alabama might game plan for Hunter Renfrow this year and say, this guy's not going to beat us? And does it even matter if they do that because you have so much depth at wide receiver?
Yeah, I've told him he probably needs to be lifting double here over the next few weeks. Because the first time they get a chance to take a shot on him, they're definitely going to get everything they can. But Hunter's just that kind of player, and I've said it many times. As a wide receiver, I think the biggest compliment you can have is be a guy when the other team knows the ball's coming to you, and maybe even they know what route you're running, and you can still get open. And Hunter's done that time and time and time again. And I think that's what the great wideouts can do. I can remember, I told this story before, I can remember DeAndre Hopkins lining up against Auburn here in Death Valley. We had a long timeout, and he told the corner across from him during the timeout, I'm getting ready to run a slant right here. And he ran the slant, and the guy jumped in front. He still called it, and he told him, I told you I was running the slant, and ran off the field. And that's kind of, what Hunter's done. But he comes to work. He's hungry. He works hard, and I have no doubt he'll play at a high level for us.
A lot of Hunter's success in games last year was because teams were concentrating on Jordan Leggett and Mike Williams. Does that say even more what he's been able to do this year, that teams haven't necessarily had those great big weapons to concentrate on?
Yeah, I think for him, there's no doubt. His first year or two, he was kind of surprising people on the scene. Now he doesn't surprise anyone, and now his play allows us to get other guys open. I can remember a key play against South Carolina on a third down where they decided to double team Hunter, and we threw the ball to T. Higgins and a man-to-man coverage on the other sideline on a sky route. And so it kind of goes both ways. There were times where they were doubling the other guys and leaving Hunter open, and that's really what we want our offense to be about. It's not about one player. One thing we take a lot of pride in, there's a lot of these games at the end of the game where we say, hey, we just broke a new record. 16 different receivers just touched the ball. And that's really, I think, when we're at our best is when we're spreading the ball around. And you can only do that when you got a lot of guys that buy in, that earn the right to play and go out and perform at a high level on game day.
Can you say if you did interview, and if so, do you think that process can help you when your time does come, going through this process?
Yeah, I think the best part. It's a little bit harder now, whenever obviously with the social media and everything out there. But the biggest thing I would say is I love my position at Clemson, and I don't take it for granted. I feel very blessed to really. First of all, at the Division I level, to be able to be at a place for 10 years is very rare. One of the reasons my dad tried to talk me out of being a college coach is he was worried about me having to pick up and move, every 3 or 4 years, which is typical. So to be able to be at your alma mater for 10 plus years has been a blessing. And having a young daughter here, there's no greater place in the world to raise a family than right here at Clemson, especially in an environment that Coach Sweeney has created here at Clemson. So I've never been in a hurry to take off and leave, and if that opportunity comes one day, then I'll know it. But right now, I'm really excited about the future. I'm looking at what we're doing right now, and I'm thinking about the younger group that's going to be coming here in the next 2 or 3 years, and that really gets me excited. So as long as that happens, I hope I get to continue to come to Clemson to work every day.
Do you still talk to your dad about
programs had, or what is it about this environment